Hell is empty and all the devils are here. Shakespeare said that once, probably long before he'd ever imagined a world like the continent. But step into The Witcher 3 and you'll realize all wasn't far off. This game isn't just about monster slaying or chasing after lost love. It's a world drowning in moral rot, where people are often worse than the beasts and every choice feels like it drags your soul through a swamp. CD Projekt Red didn't write a fantasy. They built a mirror, a grime, blood-stained mirror reflecting the darkest corners of human nature. Behind every contract and side quest is a tale of abuse, war, obsession, guilt, or straight-up supernatural nightmare fuel. You think you're walking into a simple fetch quest, and suddenly you're knee-deep in child sacrifice, suicidal nobles, or ancient spirits whispering from the roots of a cursed forest. In this video, we're diving deep into the darkest quests in The Witcher 3. These aren't just sad or spooky. They're the kind that stick with you long after you shut the game off. The kind that make you pause, lean back, and just sit in that uncomfortable silence. Geralt might shrug it off and mutter something snarky, but you'll feel it. Let's get into it. This one's infamous for a reason. Starts off like a fetch quest and turns into a nightmarish tale of abuse, alcoholism, miscarriage, and a botched exorcism involving a monster baby. There are no truly happy endings here. Just the slow unraveling of a broken family, crushed by trauma and bad decisions. The Baron's charm fades quick when you learn what he's done, and yet the game forces you to sit with him, understand him, and maybe even pity him a little. That's what The Witcher does best. Makes the monster look human and the human look monstrous. You track down his missing wife and daughter, only to find out the whole mess started because he beat his wife while drunk. She miscarried, buried the stillborn in secret, and ran off into the night. And that's not even the worst part. You can help him lift the curse by digging up the child's corpse and turning it into a botchling, a grotesque, whimpering creature born from pain and resentment. Then you carry it, cradled in your arms, through the night. And if you fail to soothe it, it'll tear your face off. Yeah, real cozy. But even if you get through all that, there's no clean resolution. Depending on your choices, his wife either goes mad or ends up dying from the trauma, and his daughter wants nothing to do with him. The Baron himself can't live with the guilt and ends it all, or he rides off to try saving his wife, like a broken man chasing redemption through a war zone. Either way, the emotional wreckage is permanent. You come in swinging swords, you leave feeling like a therapist who failed every patient. This quest hits different because it's not about monsters or magic. It's about the damage people do to the ones they claim to love. It's not some distant fantasy tale. It's real, it's raw, and it stays with you. The world of The Witcher is full of cursed castles and creepy swamps, but this is horror born at home, and no sword or sign can fix that. Now this one feels like stepping into a twisted fairy tale written by someone who really hates children. On the surface, it's about tracking down a missing person, but before long, you're flipping through an ancient picture book, meeting a creepy swamp spirit, and getting introduced to the crones of Crookback Bog. Easily three of the most disturbing characters in the whole game. And that's saying something. The crones look like they crawled out of a fever dream. One's got a basket for a head. Another has a string of ears around her neck, and the last one just looks like meat stretched over bone. They eat people. Literally. They keep a whole system going where kids are offered to them by the villagers, kind of a don't get cursed tax. And worst of all, they make it sound totally normal, like they're doing everyone a favor. That's the thing with the crones. They don't hiss or growl. They smile. The real punch in the gut comes when you realize Ciri was here and she barely escaped with her life. The crones tried to control her, and when she refused, they went full predator mode. But it's not just about Ciri. If you follow the thread, you'll find Anna, the Bloody Baron's wife, who ended up serving the crones and being slowly warped by their magic. If you made certain choices earlier, she'll die in the most agonizing way possible, her body cracking apart while her husband screams. No matter what, you'll wish you never came to this bog. This quest is so deeply unsettling because it blends old folklore with body horror and psychological torment. It's not loud or flashy, it's quiet, rotting, and patient, like the crones themselves. And when it's over, there's no celebration, just the lingering sense that something ancient and evil is still watching from the trees. This one kicks off with a classic Witcher setup: spooky island, haunted tower, restless spirit. But the more you dig, the more it spirals into straight up gothic horror. You meet Kira Metz. She sends you to investigate a curse, and by the time you reach the top of that tower, you're neck deep in a tale of betrayal, rage, starvation, and mass death. Also, there are mice. Lots of them. Too many, honestly. Turns out the tower was a prison during a peasant revolt. A nobleman locked himself and his servants inside while the villagers rioted outside. Eventually, the starving peasants broke in and slaughtered everyone. And I mean everyone. But the real heartbreaker is Annabelle, a young woman who was paralyzed by fear. Literally, everyone thought she was dead, so they left her behind. Then the rats came. She couldn't move. They started with her legs. She died screaming. Now her spirit haunts the tower, trapped in agony and confusion. And like most ghosts in this world, she's not looking for peace. She's looking for revenge. You try to help her, talk her down, maybe give her a second chance. But if you say the wrong thing or make the wrong move, she ends up latching onto the body of someone who loved her and unleashes a plague on the world. You think you're doing the right thing, but sometimes mercy is just a more polite kind of destruction. This one hits hard because it blends the supernatural with something horribly human. Fear, misunderstanding, and the urge to fix something that's already broken beyond repair. It's not the rats or the ghosts that get under your skin. It's knowing that no matter how good your intentions are, the Witcher world doesn't reward hope. It punishes it. You thought you were done with the Baron storyline. Nah, this quest comes back like a ghost that won't stay buried. Return to Crookback Bog is where the emotional fallout hits full force. Everything you did, or didn't do, during family matters and Ladies of the Wood comes crashing together here. It's messy, brutal, and almost impossible to walk away from feeling like you did the right thing. Depending on your choices, this is either a rescue mission or a death march. You return with the Baron to find his wife, Anna, still trapped by the crones. But things have gone sideways. She's been twisted by their magic, mentally shattered, or in some cases literally falling apart. The Baron, for all his bluster and violence, just wants to save her. And that's the kicker. You realize he's still human. Flawed, broken, maybe unforgivable, but human. And then it ends, not with a victory, not with a reunion, but with silence and consequence. If Anna dies, the Baron hangs himself. That's it. The last scene is just his body swaying under a tree while the wind rustles through the bog. If she lives, he leaves everything behind to take care of her. Broken, helpless, and hollowed out by guilt. Either way, nobody wins. You didn't slay a monster. You just watched a man's world collapse in slow motion. This quest doesn't shock you with gore or throw monsters at your face. It just quietly, painfully reminds you that in The Witcher, the deepest scars are the ones you can't see. It's one of the most human quests in the game, and maybe that's why it's one of the darkest. This one hits out of nowhere. You ride into a quiet village and find nothing but silence and corpses. Not a monster attack, not bandits. Something colder, cleaner. Turns out a fellow Witcher passed through. A cat school killer named Gaitan. And unlike Geralt, he didn't ask questions. He just murdered everyone, kids included. You find a young girl, the only survivor, hiding in the woods, shaking and broken. Through her, you piece together what happened. The villagers hired Gaitan, but they tried to underpay him. He snapped. One argument turned into a massacre. And now you're left to clean it up. Not the blood, but the consequences. Geralt doesn't say much, but you can feel it in how slow he moves, how he stares at the bodies like he's seeing ghosts of who he could be. When you finally track Gaitan down, it's not some epic duel. It's a conversation. He's calm. He explains himself, says Witchers don't get the luxury of dignity, says he was tired of being used and tossed aside. And here's the worst part. He's not wrong. You can choose to kill him or let him go. Both feel wrong. Both feel like letting another piece of this rotten world slip further into the abyss. This quest cuts deep because it reminds you that Geralt is just one of many, and not all Witchers carry swords for justice. Some carry it for pay or rage, or because the world made them into monsters. You're not fighting ghouls or wraiths here. You're staring down what happens when someone like Geralt walks the same path, just without the thread of conscience holding him back. This one starts like a murder mystery, but quickly descends into one of the most disturbing quests in the whole damn game. Someone's killing women in Novigrad. Brutally. Surgical precision, organs removed, no remorse. You'd think it's a monster. maybe a vampire. But nah, it's just a man, a doctor, with a scalpel and a twisted philosophy. You team up with your old pal Dandelion and follow the trail of bodies through brothels, back alleys, and autopsy tables. The deeper you dig, the more horrifying it gets. The killer believes he's cleansing the city. He targets sex workers and marginalized women, claiming he's doing the God's work. It's serial killer logic mixed with religious fanaticism. And the scariest part is how calm he is about it. When you finally confront him, he's smug, polite, doesn't run, doesn't beg. He talks to you like you're the crazy one. And depending on your choices, you can either kill him on the spot, hand him over to the authorities, or let the church take care of it, which probably means a quick release and more bodies. It's one of those moments where justice doesn't feel like justice, just another illusion in a city full of rot. Carnal Sins is terrifying not because of monsters, but because it shows the worst of what humans can do when they hide behind ideology. There's no magic here, no curse, just a scalpel, a sick mind, and a society that lets it happen. You don't walk away from this one feeling like a hero. You just walk away, hoping the next alley you turn into doesn't hide another horror show. At first glance, this one feels like a standard Witcher contract. A creepy tree, some haunted whispers, a dark force buried underground. But nothing in The Witcher 3 is ever that simple. This isn't just a cursed spirit. It's something ancient. Something that speaks in riddles and nightmares and promises. And you're asked to decide if it lives or dies, without ever really knowing what it is. The kicker is this quest is tangled directly into Ladies of the Wood. The spirit claims to be a guardian, imprisoned by the crones, begging for release. It says it can save the children from the bog if you just help it. And it sounds legit. Desperate even. But the crones say it's a monster, a killer, a manipulator. And let's be honest, neither side exactly screams trustworthy. You can free the spirit and watch it tear through the forest, slaughtering the crone's followers and keeping its promise. The kids do escape. But at what cost? You just unleashed a force of jaws that might have been sealed away for a good reason. Or you can kill it, bind it back into the earth like some ancient evil, and doom the children to be devoured by the crones. Either way, you're making a deal with the devil. You just get to choose which version. This doesn't scream horror, but it crawls under your skin. It's not about right or wrong. It's about power and consequence. You don't really know what you did until hours later, when the ripples of your choice start hitting other quests. That's the genius of it. It lingers, like a whisper you can't unhear. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. This one's supposed to be funny, a break from the bleakness, and it is. For a bit. Geralt gets possessed by a dead guy named Vladimir von Erech, crashes a wedding, flirts shamelessly, drinks like a maniac, and generally acts like someone who's never had a hangover in his life. It's goofy, weird, and surprisingly charming, but then the high fades, and that's when the darkness creeps in. Vladimir's dead, has been for a long time, and he's using this one night to feel something again. Anything, you can feel the desperation just under the surface. How hard he's trying to laugh, how tightly he clings to the moment, because once the night ends, so does he. There's this part where he dances under the stars, smiling like it's the first time he's truly felt alive in decades. Then he stops, looks around, and realizes it's all fake, all borrowed. It hits hard because he's not a villain. He's not a victim either. He's just lost. A man who made mistakes, died young, and now exists only as a name on a tombstone. There's nothing to fix, no battle to win. Just one last party before he fades back into silence. You give him that, and he thanks you with this bittersweet smile like he knows how fragile it all is. And when he's gone, it's quiet. No music, no laughter. Just Geralt standing in the moonlight alone again. It's a reminder that even the fun quests carry weight in The Witcher. Because death is never far, even when everyone's dancing.